Chapter 409 Fire School's First Rank. Mo Fan was left speechless. Wasn't this guy a bit too hot-tempered? He was only transferring to a different element, yet he had called him trash in front of the entire school. "Well, I'll be sitting here then, sir," responded Mo Fan calmly, who was never a weakling. Mo Fan would not believe this guerrilla elemental director had the power to chase him away, since Dean Xiao had helped him with the procedures. Wei Rong raised his eyebrows. How dare this transfer student talk back to him? Every student in the fire school treated him with utter respect, including those in the top 10 who had formidable backgrounds and outstanding strength. "Do you think you're good?" asked Wei Rong. "Not bad, at least I'm not trash," answered Mo Fan. "The test this month has ended. Consider yourself lucky. Next month, if your ranking is still below 1,000, you shall piss off back to your previous element. I'm in charge of the distribution of the resources here. I can easily take yours away using the excuse that your performance is too terrible," said Wei Rong. 1,000? Sir, I think you've underestimated me, Mo Fan laughed. "Humph. Prove it to me then," said Wei Rong in a cold tone. "I did check around when I first came here, but for me, the fire school is a little bit disappointing," said Mo Fan. "What are you trying to say?" asked Wei Rong with wide eyes. "You said that you don't recruit trash, but why do I feel like there are many that are trash here?" "Or, maybe that's your standard," responded Mo Fan. Mo Fan was clearly not in a great mood today. Not only did people doubt his looks twice in a day, the elemental director had scolded him as trash in front of the students. What the hell have I done wrong to them? As the Demon King of Pearl Institute, he used to triumph among the new students. With Dean Xiao keeping an eye on him, even the teachers were friendly toward him. Mo Fan never ceased to amaze people verbally. His words immediately stirred a huge tide among the students. There were many students that are trash in the hall. The words were not directed at someone in particular, but it was in fact scolding the entire fire school and all its students. Furthermore, he even scolded the elemental director altogether, saying that his teaching method was trash. Suddenly, the entire hall felt like it was burning. If one were able to summon flames with their gazes, Mo Fan would have been burned into ashes by now. Mo Fan shrugged helplessly when he saw elemental director Wei Rong pulling a long face. The teacher was the one who had started it all. He can't just expect me to compromise and submit to him, can he? After the crisis at Hangzhou, Mo Fan had learned that the factors determining if he would be humble toward someone and treat them with respect were not higher age or position, but the wisdom and tolerance expected from an elderly person. Wei Rong had scolded him straight away, as if he had just eaten a bomb before coming here. How could he, who was blessed by the heavens, not return the favor? All right, Mo Fan did admit that he was not too fond of the scornful elemental director, so he did not bother to control his temper. Very well, repeated the elemental director as he clenched his teeth. It felt like he had an urge to simply drag Mo Fan away and beat the crap out of him. The hall was immersed in a great uproar. "Who do you think you are, you worthless transfer student? How dare you call us trash? Come, let's have a duel right now. I'll give up my spot at the 400th rank if I fail to knock all your teeth out. I've never seen anyone daring to behave atrociously in our fire school. He might be tired of living, but he should still have a brain. I bet he's only here to cause some trouble. Zhao Ji, you're ranked in the top 100 among the students. Why don't you blast him with a single attack? I hate attention seekers like him the most." Among the students, some could not wait to blast Mo Fan away with a fiery fist. Some had already come up to him, demanding him to apologize to everyone with kowtows. However, most of them were just wearing a cold smirk, not too bothered by the ridiculous words of the transfer student. That made sense, too. Everyone had managed to enroll into Pearl Institute's main campus. They should be more mature. Only those who were indeed trash, or too proud, who could not allow someone to be so ignorant, would be infuriated. Either way, most students were too lazy to argue with Mo Fan. "Strange, I've already spoken so much, yet she is still not turning around," murmured Mo Fan as he was placed under the spotlight. The same attractive back, the same elegant hairstyle. Mo Fan was pretty sure that he had ignited the fuse of the bomb in everyone's heart. Even those with rather calm personalities would still cast a glance at him. In the end, the girl called Ding Yuming did not even turn around. Meanwhile, the tomboy Huang Xingli was looking at him in disbelief. Her eyes were simply trying to say, "Is this guy for real?" Huang Xingli did not hold any grudge against Mo Fan. In fact, her kindness was actually trying to urge the transfer student to leave the fire school as soon as possible. Otherwise, he would surely suffer the wrath of the students. Silence. Wei Rong's voice echoed in the hall. His fiery eyes were staring at Mo Fan. Everyone could sense the strong fiery aura from his body. The hall immediately fell silent. Only the sound of everyone's breathing was audible. You're at Pearl Institute, the fire school. I, Wei Rong, have seen too many great talents, but none of them have spoken to me like you did. Very well, I shall see what you have up in your sleeves. The results of every student are listed on the leaderboard, from the first rank to the 1149th rank, said Wei Rong with a firm voice. As Wei Rong was speaking, not a single student dared to make any noise. His presence was echoing in the hall just like his bright voice. Wei Rong glanced at the students and said, "Zhang Jiawei, stand up." Among the crowd, a boy who looked fairly timid slowly rose to his feet. He did not seem proud when his name was being mentioned, but it felt like he was looking for a place to hide. He is ranked last in the fire school, said Wei Rong to Mo Fan. Dongfang Lai, your turn, said Wei Rong. In the last row of the hall, a man who seemed rather uninterested rose to his feet unwillingly. He was wearing a smile, which could not hide his pride at all. He was a great contrast to the student called Zhang Jiawei. Wei Rong pointed at Dongfang Lai as he said to Mo Fan, "He's ranked first." Chapter 410 overdid it. Wei Rong moved his gaze from Zhang Jiawei to Dongfang Lai as he spoke. The difference between them was not only because of talents, background, hardworking, or luck, but the endless competition when 1147 students with similar starting points were gathered together. It isn't just about strength here. If you think there are many people whom you regarded as unworthy between the first and the last rank, I'll give you a hand. I'll place you at the 100th rank this month, just to let you know the pressure that a student of the fire school at that rank is bearing every day, said Wei Rong with a heavy tone. When he saw the elemental director being extremely serious, Mo Fan said with a smile, "I was just not too fond of being judged right away. There's no need for us to confront each other with daggers. I won't allow any empty talk in my fire school. If you think that many I've taught are trash, I want you to look at yourself when you're defeated by them." Wei Rong did not plan to let Mo Fan go. Mo Fan was left with no choice, since the elemental director was being so stubborn. He was only confused about the reason why the gorilla would place him at the 100th rank. Wei Rong did not bother spending more time on the matter. He would know the outcome in a month. He began announcing the ranking of the students for the month, before distributing the resources. As usual, Mo Fan always managed to infuriate the masses. He was rather satisfied after getting all the attention. He tapped on the tomboy Huang Xingli's shoulder in front of him and asked, "Do you reckon the gorilla's brain has short-circuited after I've triggered him? Why would he place me at the 100th rank? It seems like I'm getting quite some resources." Huang Xingli rolled her eyes and thought, "So this guy is an idiot after all. Do you really think those with higher ranks live a comfortable life? They have to accept endless challenges from those ranked below them. The higher your rank is, the more challenges you will be given. No one will go easy on you. Even when your energy has been depleted, as long as they challenge you to a duel, if you lose, you will have to swap your ranking with the person who defeated you. Normally as a transfer student, if you do have some capabilities up in your sleeves, you could easily rank up without gathering too much attention. No one would notice your existence, yet you've made the worst possible choice. Think about the number of people who want to beat you up now. I don't think you want to stay any longer in Pearl Institute. I suggest transferring to a different school instead. Otherwise, you will die a horrible death," Huang Xingli said to Mo Fan. Huang Xingli sincerely thought that Mo Fan was asking for trouble with his actions. Considering that he would be tortured a lot within the next month, Huang Xingli could not help but give him a piece of advice. "Damn, so that's the rules for the ranking? I have to accept the challenges? Doesn't that mean I would be gangbanged without any chance to rest?" Mo Fan asked in shock. "You dare talk big without knowing the exact situation? Even the gods can't save you now." Mo Fan rubbed his temples as he felt a sudden headache. He had surely overdone it this time. He only knew about the leaderboard today, yet to his surprise, the ranking was determined through unrestricted challenges. He could imagine the days with students challenging him to a duel when he was sleeping, eating, or dating some chicks for the next month. Maybe he should just pay Dean Xiao a visit and ask to transfer him to the lightning element. He didn't feel like he could stay at the fire element any longer. Mo Fan was fairly strong, but without using his full strength, he could not possibly defeat every student in the school. The main campus of Pearl Institute had many experts. Only intermediate magicians were allowed to enroll here. Furthermore, many students in the main campus had relied on the resources given them to achieve the peak of the intermediate level. Surely, some of them would have soul seeds too. In terms of strength, Dongfang Ming was actually not weaker than him, and his equipment was a lot fancier than his. He even had something luxurious like the wing magical equipment, let alone a soul seed. If there existed students that were stronger than him, they would be troublesome to deal with. So if I'm ranked 100th, does that mean those ranked in the top 100 won't be challenging me? Asked Mo Fan. Mo Fan assumed that only those ranked in the top 100 would pose a threat to him. Of course, who would bother challenging those who are ranked lower than themselves? Not only can't they improve their ranking after winning the duels, it would also be a waste to their energy, said Huang Xingli. Ah, that sounds better, Mo Fan let out a relieved sigh. Better my ass, you arrogant prick. Besides, do I know you? Why do you keep asking me questions? Stay away from me, you maniac, blurted out Huang Xingli furiously when she suddenly realized something. Mo Fan chuckled. This tomboy was fairly interesting. After the assembly, Mo Fan could easily smell a strong scent of gunpowder. Luckily, he had fled earlier. The gazes of the students alone were enough to burn him into ashes. I thought he's a big shot, but he ends up running like a coward too, said Huang Xingli with a cold harumph when she saw Mo Fan fleeing. Ding Yuming glanced in the direction which Mo Fan ran to and said softly, his name sounds slightly familiar. You know him? Huang Xingli glanced at Ding Yuming with astonishment. The Ding Yuming she knew would not even know the top 10 geniuses on the school's leaderboard. Why would she remember that guy's name? Ding Yuming shook her head and fell silent. As soon as the elemental director left, the entire hall exploded. Groups of people rushed to where Mo Fan was sitting at with their sleeves curled up. Damn, he ran away. When did he leave? You people sitting close to him? Why didn't you stop him? We have no idea when he left either. Humph. What difference will it make? Go challenge him, he's currently ranked at 100. 9 out of 10 of us could have beaten him easily. He has no choice but to fight us, unless he's willing to hand over the resources, said Zhao Ji coldly. Damn it, Zhao Ji was ranked 100 before the transfer student came. The difference between the resources given to the 100th rank and the 100th and 1st rank was significant. Zhao Ji was pushed down to the 101st for no reason, thus words could not describe the grudge he was holding against Mo Fan. Qin Song, why don't you teach that kid a lesson? You would earn some reputation too. There are too many experts in fire school. If we don't stand out, who would even know about the existence of our Golden Fire Club? I have no interest in people ranked 100 or lower, said the man called Qin Song. By the way, didn't there used to be a Mo Fan with the nickname Demon King among the new students? This guy is pretty smug, is it him? I thought that Mo Fan died when he was on exchange? I don't think they are the same person. That Mo Fan is from the summoning element. Oh, right. Chapter 411 Humiliation to His Dignity. Sister Mew, look, the Demon King is being himself again. He publicly called the students in fire school trash and even doubted the elemental director, Wei Rong's teaching method. Ha ha ha, there's always something fun when the Demon King is around. In the plant school's lecture hall, I-Tutu happily read the news on her phone to Mu Nujiao. Most people in Pearl Institute's main campus were well behaved. Occasionally, there were a few students acting scornfully, but I-Tutu felt like they were just putting on a show. Mo Fan was completely different. He would always cause something epic to happen. As expected of the Demon King, he had already stirred such chaos on the first day back. The whole school forum was discussing it. The people from the renowned clans always try so hard just to earn some reputation on the main campus. They would go as far as putting on all kinds of shows just to grab everyone's attention. Meanwhile, this guy who doesn't belong to any faction always manages to enter the limelight. Mu Nujiao could not help but giggle. Yeah, that's so true. Last month, that Xiao Jiahe from Xiao Clan did a self-directed and fake demon beast hunting, and the so-called epic duel between the pampered sons of Zhou Clan and Li Clan. They were so weak compared to the Demon King. I-Tutu laughed. But it seems like he has overdone it this time. Mu Nujiao could not help but feel worried for Mo Fan. The main campus was different from the Azure Pearl campus. The latter was only for new students, thus, everyone had just graduated from high school. They would at most just barely have achieved the intermediate level. Even those with a formidable background would not easily expose themselves. Here at the main campus, not only was everyone an intermediate magician, they would have achieved a certain status in society. To an extent, they would be representing different parties and factions. Thus, there were people with outstanding talents, formidable backgrounds, and incredible strength here. The rules for the main campus were rather simple, too. As long as they had yet to achieve the advanced level, they could stay at the school to cultivate for as long as they wanted. In other words, you could easily find all sorts of maniacs below the advanced level here at the main campus. In Mu Nujiao's case, this was her first year at the main campus. Even with her talents, she was only ranked 145th. She could not even get into the top 100. That being said, her results were fairly outstanding among the new students. Mo Fan comfortably laid down on the couch and ate some fruits after going back to the apartment. The place did not have much, except for an abundant supply of snacks and fruits, stocked up by both Mu Nujiao and I Tutu. Mo Fan was not so fussy about courtesy with his two beloved concubines. He had only rested for a brief moment when he received a message from Ling Ling, asking him to pay a visit to the Clearsky Hunter Agency. Mo Fan finally recalled that he had yet to report for duty to Old Bao after coming back here for quite a long time. The old man would surely know that he had returned to Magic City in one piece. Mo Fan left his home and hailed a cab. When should I sort out the license for the Swift Star Wolf? It's so inconvenient to hail a cab every time I need to go somewhere. Not sure if requesting a license for a summoned beast would also need to go through a license plate lottery, mumbled Mo Fan. TL note: license plate lottery is a thing in Beijing. People who want to buy a new car have to submit a request to get a license plate. They would then enter a pool, and the winner of the lottery will then be granted the license plate, as a way of implementing road space rationing. As he arrived at the Clearsky Hunter Agency, Old Bao looked dispirited as usual, sitting at the bar. Perhaps business was not too good lately. There were no serious jobs, and even the tea he was drinking was no longer the expensive kind. Old Bao, I'm back, greeted Mo Fan with a charming smile. Humph, you brat should just die in the wild, so my Clearsky Hunter Agency can recruit a more reliable hunter who never skips his shifts, replied Old Bao in an unpleasant tone. Hee, please don't say things like that. I still need to earn some of my living expenses here. By the way, Old Bao, I've got some nice material to forge and armor equipment. You've got connections, introduce me to a reliable forge master, so I can make myself a set of armor. Otherwise, my life will always be in danger, said Mo Fan. An armor set doesn't come cheap. You sure you have the money? Asked Old Bao while raising his brows. I do have some. I just caused little trouble, so it's going to be somewhat annoying if I don't have any great equipment. Li Man had handled the Xuanwu giant lizard's corpse. She had transferred 19 million RMB to Mo Fan's account. There was neither some rare loot nor a soul essence. Mo Fan was quite surprised that the corpse was still worth 19 million RMB. Well, a commander-level creature was definitely not easy to hunt. One could easily lose their life fighting against them. I'll give my old friend a call. You just need to bring the materials and money to Dongfeng Oriental Tower. Since you're back, I do have a pile of requests for you and Ling Ling to handle. Old Bao brought out a pile of papers. Not a problem. Mo Fan beat his chest as if he were trying to say that he was willing to take all the responsibilities. After receiving the requests, Mo Fan had a weird look. It was not because the requests were extremely difficult, but seriously, what kind of requests were these? Head to the sewage to capture a blood-marked colossal-eyed ape rat. I thought any hunter could easily do that. And this, a newly bought tamed beast has run away, a lost and found request. And what the heck is this? Help us to retrieve a protection fee. Old Bao, are you seriously that poor, accepting these questionable requests? Mo Fan almost dropped his jaw to the ground. Old Bao coughed. I was out a few days ago, so I asked my friend to manage the place for a while. Who knew he would accept all this rubbish? For the sake of our Clearsky Hunter Agency's completion rate, you are our only hope, since you're the weakest hunter we have, said Old Bao. These requests only add up to a few tens of thousands at most. Isn't this just a waste of my time? Cursed Mo Fan. With his current strength, he could easily handle a request with a reward of 100,000. There might be too many intermediate magicians in Pearl Main campus, but in the general society, intermediate magicians were incredibly rare. Their entrance fee was comparable to that of celebrities. Stop complaining and sort them out. I'll give you a case with big money when there's one. By the way, your little money isn't enough to ask my old friend a favor, since his fees are rather costly, said Old Bao with an awkward look. As a matter of fact, he also agreed that the quests were questionable. They were a humiliation to his gold-class service. Doing hard labor when he just came back, and the money was only enough to pay his expensive rent and everyday expenses. Recalling his recent glorious achievements of beating the razor-tailed drake, outsmarting the Xuanwu giant lizard, rescuing the black totem snake, chasing the silver skyruler, and now he had to find someone's husband's paramour, look for a lost dog, and attach advertisements on electric poles. Such a humiliation to his dignity. Chapter 412 Volunteer Son-in-Law. Mo Fan began to feel like he had journeyed down a path with no turning back as he and Ling Ling got busy doing the questionable requests along the streets. However, when he thought about the hunter competition next year, in which the hunters with higher points would be grouped into different levels, he tried to comfort himself that he was doing the quests for the sake of accumulating the points he needed. Luckily, he had the intelligence capsule, Ling Ling, with him, which made all the quests extremely easy. Within just a week, he had completely fulfilled all the requests, earning a total of 500,000 RMB from the bounties. In the past, it would be considered a huge sum to him, but unfortunately, every transaction he needed to rank up past the intermediate level would involve millions, or even tens of millions, for a better outcome. His hopes of finding a soul seed for his shadow element seemed rather impossible. After settling the quests, Mo Fan returned to school, and quickly found himself with a worse headache. The challenges sent to him had stacked up into a greater pile than the requests in his hunter agency. Luckily, the challenges were scheduled on the 2nd and 4th weeks of every month. Otherwise, he would have to give his resources up to the challengers. The resources given by the school were fairly spectacular, including a chance to cultivate inside the 3-step tower. That was the most attractive reward to Mo Fan, without a doubt. It was the sacred ground for cultivation. The resources for the 100th rank were rather satisfying, too. Mo Fan was quite surprised that he was given a magic accelerator. The magic tool was fairly unique. It allowed magicians to align their stars more adeptly, ensuring smooth and less breakable connections. Using the tool to practice would greatly improve learning efficiency. Most importantly, it could shorten the time required to draw and align the stars. In simpler words, the tool could improve casting speed. The battles between magicians seemed complicated, but they were actually very simple. The ones who could cast their magic faster than their opponents would usually gain the upper hand. If someone like Mo Fan, who had ranked up his basic lightning and fire spells to the 4th tier, could further improve his casting speed, to the extent that he could cast them by swiping his hands in the air, then he was pretty much unbeatable against magicians on the same level. On a side note, Mo Fan was fairly surprised when he learned that the school also provided fire element soul seeds. Every time the ranking was updated, the students would receive a certain amount of soul seed pieces. Once they collected enough pieces, if they were lucky enough, they could smelt a fire soul seed from them. Mo Fan now had 1 soul seed piece with him. Once he saved up to 10 pieces, he would have enough pieces for the smelting. Similarly, the smelting would require different kinds of fire element materials. The better the materials, the higher the success rate. If he managed to smelt a soul seed, it would improve his strength significantly. Mo Fan already had the rose flame, thus smelting another fire soul seed would not make any difference. As such, he traded the fire element soul seed pieces for shadow element soul seed pieces. He was eager to improve his shadow element with a soul seed. There was no soul seed for the summoning element, but the resources a summoner needed were comparable to other elements, as the lineage, soul, and flesh of their beasts were already a lot to understand and master. Mo Fan's resources were still very limited. He could not even afford to buy a young beast, thus his skill contract summoning was left wasted still. Speaking of which, Mo Fan was desperately in need of money. Mo Fan had too many things he wanted to improve upon reaching the intermediate level. If he could not find a way to fully utilize all his elements, how could he possibly conquer the school? Therefore, Mo Fan really needed the resources that the school had given to him. There was no way he would give up on them. He had to find a way to deal with the challenges. Students in the top 50 will be given 2 soul seed pieces and a fire element magic tool. I-22. What is this fire element magic tool useful for? Asked Mo Fan. Are you an alien? Everyone knows that the fire element magic tool is useful for improving the efficiency of your cultivation of the fire element. It's sort of similar to the nebula tool. The nebula tool improves one's soul, so that the magician's general casting speed can be improved. Meanwhile, the fire element magic tool specifically targets the fire element. It can stack together with the effects of the nebula tool. On its own, the benefit it provides is fairly ordinary, but if supported by an outstanding nebula tool, it would significantly improve the cultivation of a particular element, explained I-22, who was busy eating her banana. I see. So it's very useful to me. So if I were to cultivate in the 3-step tower, with both the nebula tool and the fire element magic tool, and focus on the cultivation of the fire element, doesn't that mean it would skyrocket? Said Mo Fan with glistening eyes. I-22 nodded. Her chubby mouth was corked with half a banana as she mumbled with a blurry voice. The problem is, it's already impressive to have either one of them, yet you're thinking of stacking them together? Isn't that too good to be true? What rank would I need to get a chance of cultivating in the 3-step tower? Asked Mo Fan. In your fire school, I guess you'll need to get in the top 50 to be able to cultivate in the 3-step tower for one day. The higher your rank is, the longer the time you'll be given. With your strength, it's impressive enough that you can hold on to the 100th rank. Forget about the top 50, everyone up there is nothing but a maniac. You can only find people that are crazier and richer than you. If you don't have a complete set of equipment, you don't even have the guts to tell other people that you're ranked in the top 50 in the fire school. Look at yourself, a total povo without any presentable equipment. Your double innate elements has given you lots of moves, but if someone's defensive equipment was particularly strong against your lightning element or fire element, you are going to lose for sure, said I-22. That is a great reminder, Mo Fan nodded seriously. After all, he was not an RMB player. He lacked equipment the most compared to the Ferdai. His advantage of having the double innate elements was somehow non-existent against someone else's complete set of equipment. Not everyone was a fool like Dongfang Ming, who would spend a huge amount of money on wing magical equipment which was not particularly useful in a head-on battle against other magicians. If he had used the money he spent on the wing magical equipment to buy a powerful shield or magic armor, it would easily have protected him from Mo Fan's basic spells, making it harder for Mo Fan to win their battle. Why don't you volunteer yourself as the Mu clan's son-in-law? Sister Mu's clan does put a lot of effort in training great talents. With your reputation as the Demon King, I believe they would be more than willing to provide you a complete set of equipment, said I-22 with a smile. Not a bad idea, Mo Fan wore an evil smile, as his half-squinted eyes stared at the glamorous Mu Nujiao watering the plants on the balcony.